in Hugaflug or with my playful workshops, I have like these three main pillars. I'm trying to have a special focus, which is the playfulness, of course, and which is the increasing the sense of the social inclusion of the children. So I have always like there are always like at least two children making one kite together, where they like assist each other in making it, decorating it, and flying it outside. So and the third part is basically to improve their creative confidence. So in making an own kite, like an own design, an own decoration, and making it also fly, it's like a huge, it's a big victory for a child. So to see it fly actually in the air, and the beautiful colors and beautiful tails and all the things, it gives a child self-confidence. So I'm designing a small workbook for the children that I have been illustrating myself, and it has also like a guideline, like how to make a kite, so they can use it at home, bring it home, show it to their siblings and their parents, and make kites at home as well, because actually all the material and tools to make a kite, they can be found in every home. So it is like you don't need much previous experience or expensive material, so you can really make it from very cheap and recycled material even. I hope that Hugaflug develops in a way that it accesses many schools in Iceland. So we could, for example, hold kite festivals in Reykjavik and in Hella or in Akureyri, like in the different places. And then I also hope to participate in kite festivals abroad and present Icelandic kites, Icelandic design.
My project began with the idea that we can, in theory, practice cultivation wherever in our immediate environment, such as schools and homes. And Iceland is like, it's an island, and the climate is rather harsh. We have short growing periods and unstable. So growing inside is the most convenient way. I start to think, why couldn't we just like grow more at home? In the beginning, I knew I wanted to look at options with hydroponics, which is basically about growing plants in water without soil. Most of these systems are like, they are run by pumps and plastic, like mass-produced plastic pieces. So I thought if I would go into this, I wanted to look into like local materials and low tech. Alginate hydrogel is it's obtained from brown seaweed, and the brilliant part of the hydrogel is that it contains the oxygen level in the water, because normally you have to move the water to contain the level. So there's no need anymore for the circulation and pumps and things like that. And brown seaweed is a local material that we do harvest in Iceland, but we export it as a raw material, and we don't like profit very much from it. So important part of this is also how can we like increase the value of our sources.
It was, in a way, the fascination of colors that started the whole thing. And as a graphic designer, I am very much into printing and analog printing methods. The whole idea was to sort of create ink that was biodegradable, so it would be possible to use it to print on packaging, for example, and then the packaging and the ink would degrade together fully into nature. I need to continue doing the experiments. So far I have managed to make both blueberry and crowberry tones, so like gradients. managed to make blue colors that work very differently on paper and then on the other hand on wood. So I'm sort of focusing on this testing the ink on other materials as well. So it's very much in the experimental phase as of yet. I'm still learning how to work with the materials. So far it's only been crowberries and blueberries, but I'm also very interested in working with lichens, and that's one of the main ingredient I'm interested in working with next, because that's gives you a very different color. So I want to try to figure out how to make as many colors as possible. The first difficulty was because in the beginning I was sort of looking for an alternative to normal printing. I wanted to find sort of a way to make ink that would last for a long period of time, like petroleum-based ink is, which is very stable and very permanent. So the first difficulty I ran into was when the color started changing so much, and I had no control over what was happening. So it took a while just to figure out how I could control the color changes or the fading in the ink. That was the biggest challenge.
My project is called Half and Half. I am a fashion designer, and I would call myself a product designer as well. The project began from visiting a wool conference up in Blundus. I wanted to use old fabrics, because we don't always necessarily have to go to Paris or we have to go to New York to get fabrics. To show how creative we are, we don't have to do that. So I wanted to just go to Red Cross. They became my fabrics, and I began to utilise them and mix it with the wool, and that's how the project came around. As time went on and I started to build more upon top of it, it began to form a semi-collection. In creating the description that I had on each garment, I wrote down the time, the hours that was spent, the people who designed it, the cost of everything. I think it will hopefully help people realise the amount of effort that is actually put into each garment. I feel the more that designers really start to be sustainable, and the more this gets out to the public, that the actual mindset of people might change. So many large companies are not transparent, and so therefore there is an awful lot of chemical usage. They're destroying their environment through their choice of fabrics. There's no fair trade. There's poor labour working conditions. I would love to run workshops whereby people might want to come and mend something, and I could either show them or they dedicate their time by knitting something for us, and it's like a sustainable workshop.
The Interrogation of Proteus is a design project based on the science, theory and research of semiotics. Semiotics is the study of meaning making, the philosophical theory of signs and symbols. I'm interested in the branch of semiotics called social semiotics, which is emphasizing diversity of interpretation and the importance of cultural and historical context. A part of my research was creating a series of questionnaires, online questionnaires, which I based on the 1944 experiment of apparent behavior by Heiter and Simmel, American psychologists, where I asked the participants to interpret geometric symbols or shapes, assign to them personalities or describe what's happening in a particular arrangement of shapes. And I based these shapes on famous photographs, paintings, movie posters, anything that has a sort of a particular cultural value in a sense. And it was interesting to see how many of the participants were spot on in their interpretation. The posters were an attempt from my perspective as a visual communicator and graphic designer to utilize the research and theory and the experiments I conducted, the questionnaires, and looking at this project in the context of project development or project creation, or as almost like a tool for streamlining projects. You can look at this as like a software which you can use in many different ways, which helps you to clarify and create an image that you want to create from the perspective of working within or working with culture. I think about culture as like a fluid thing, ever-moving, ever-changing phenomenon.
My work is telling possibilities of new use of lamb bones, which is leftovers in Iceland slaughterhouses. This came from Chinese cuisine, and we usually use bones for making soups. So I took the circle of bone cycling, like if I boil the bones, I get the bone soup. I crush the clean bones into powders and sort of reform them into a container for contain the bone soup, and the container can return to the nature after being used. This is inspired by Eastern philosophy, samsara, which is telling about life circle, and everything in the world can be dead and rebirth and dead. It's an endless circle, and I think it's also an understanding of recycle to me, and utilizing everything. This project is telling everyone to understand the recycle of the nature resources. I hope this project can inspire Icelandic livestock. It is worth to research leftovers from their products line. Not only lamb bones are waste from slaughterhouses, but what about cow bones and pig bones?
In this design process, I started with my own clutter problem, which obsessed me from my childhood to present. I think the cluttered room is an increasingly problem in modern world, because the people are buying more things and overconsumption, and they have overload information every day, and the procrastination again. I have designed a desk or a series of furniture. I inspired from a conveyor belt, and I want to design a moving desk that because the furniture now in our room is not motivated. They accept all the things people gave them and pile up all the stuffs, and people couldn't throw the things away, and they don't want to put their time on organize all the things surround them. And then the room is like a circulation. The circulation stop, and so I'm thinking that if the furniture can helping people to throw the things away, and then I design a moving desk. My idea based on a Japanese philosophy of dansha-ri, and which means if you throw the things away, and then you can get more space and more energy and more time in your room, and which can lead you to a comfortable life. I prefer it to become a real product and make it come true to helping the cloud people.
My design is a virtual version of the ancient agora. It's a shared open public space where people can engage in a conversation who normally might not.
I wish these people would just talk to each other. I would like to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
I would, for example, be very interested in watching the two famous contemporary philosophers, Slavoj Žižek and Noam Chomsky, talk. But amazingly enough, these two popular philosophers have not even been interviewed together. I see this as kind of a gap in the media. Two high-profile people who frequently appear in the media, who are debated and discussed, and who even contest each other's works and discuss and criticise each other, but don't seem to talk to each other publicly. This missing conversation is true for a great amount of people. Those who are famous, but also for those who have never been asked to contribute to the current media landscape.
Most of the work that has been done has been focused on strengthening the concept and building up guidelines and thoughts that need to be resolved when making this kind of a network.
Even though we are already surrounded by relentless conversation in mass media, these are the interview type of conversations, which consist of a chain of question-answer sequences, with little room for reflection, evaluation, feedback, or the possibility of bringing up new topics, which most other, ordinary conversations have. It seems like non-moderated conversation is completely missing from contemporary media. The main purpose of this project is to get people to simply talk together about what inspires them or as they see as important, without being guided or stopped by a third party. This is not an interview. There is no host. This is your turn to talk.
The beauty of this concept is its simplicity. Everyone is invited to the table. There's no need for a camera crew, lighting or makeup to be a part of this. I believe there's a massive interest for this kind of a platform. For the man on the street,